And it's a big test for the visiting Knights. Their two most senior players and organisers are out. Many personnel and positional changes as they sit nervously on the fringe of the top 8. They don't have a fabulous record here at Campbelltown Stadium, Wayne Pearce.
They certainly don't, and one man that will need to give them plenty of thrust today in the absence of those experienced representative players is Josh Perry, a guy that has a tremendous work rate, loves the tackling, averages 25 tackles a game, but his hit-ups, he's got quality hit-ups in him, and he'll need to do plenty of those today.
Not only is it Andrew Johns and Danny Baderas being rested after a pretty grueling representative season. They're without Robbie O'Davis, they're without Clint Newton, without Adam McDougall. The West Tigers perhaps playing the mind games as the standing captain, big Matt Parsons, waits impatiently for this side. For 11th place on the NRL ladder, the West Tigers are out of the race for semi-finals, but their position doesn't accurately reflect the improvement in the club over the past month. Several youngsters have been blooded and will continue to be blooded in the final rounds of the season, but it is one of their veterans who has led the way this year.
Yeah, Mark O'Neill, for the last 2 weeks, he was a skipper in their wins over the Cronulla side, and last week just got pipped by Canberra. He's a guy that loves to play a full game, tremendous work rate, and he stands down to skipper today because Darren Centre is back from suspension.
The West Tigers won the toss. They will defend the southern end and have the use of a nice breeze in the opening 40 minutes. In his 213th first-grade appointment, your referee is Stephen Clark. An understrength Newcastle side. Lincoln Withers, first man with the ball in hand, tackled 20 metres out from his own line. The playing surface here at Campbelltown in top order. Fabulous condition. They shoot to the blind side through Corey Pearson, the veteran front rower who this week signed a one-year deal with Parramatta. Terry Hill is used as the decoy runner. That's John Skandalis, a Campbelltown local. O'Neill, the veteran we spoke of,
Here it is, Josh.
who just this week re-signed with the Tigers for a further 2 years. Lincoln Withers, with the assistance of some breeze, puts the ball nicely between fullback Hughes and the winger Craig Hall. The back three are going to be forced to do a lot of work today in the absence of some of the big names. The emphasis very much on Kurt Gidley, moving from starting 5'8" into the role of halfback. That's Parsons, tackle number 3. The meters haven't been easy for the Knights in this, their first set. The blind side they come through, Steve Simpson. Perry charges into the line. It takes 3 to bring him down. Good front-on defence by Lincoln Withers. This is the final. They go to Kurt Gidley. It has been charged down. It is play on 6 again, says referee Clark. A stroke of good luck for the Knights.
Certainly was for the Knights, and they need to get a good start to this game. With so many of their regular established players out, Johnsy not playing, they've got to get a confident start to give these young players in the side some belief that they can do it.
Luke Quigley in jersey 16, filling in for Danny Baderas, who will be at acting half for the afternoon. They go to the right, left-hand side through Quinn. Sloppy execution from the Knights. In the shadows of the sideline, they retain possession of the footy. Again, this is Quinn. Grabbing across field, this is the final tackle. They go to Gidley. A kick with far too much on it that rolls comfortably over the dead-end goal line.
And I think that's the big thing they're going to miss today. Above anything else, Andrew Johns' kicking game. Close to the line, he's got a tremendous attacking kicking game. And in terms of distance, he's got a long kicking game when they need it.
They never got back to 10. Penalty to you guys. No, it's got to be here at the restart. It's got to be here. They never got back to 10 metres of the restart.
First penalty of the match and some much-needed metres. You can see these outside men on the near side of the camera, the Western Grandstand side, not retiring the 10 metres that Clark would have liked.
And the big factor in the first half is going to be this breeze behind the Tigers. If they use the breeze well, Newcastle are going to be under siege for most of this first half, and that will really test them mentally.
Looking to play percentage football, more important territorial football. They're looking to put The emphasis on their enthusiasm and pin the Knights down, hoping for the mistake deep in their own territory. Tackle number 3 just 31 metres out. Again, they operate to the blind side. Centre breaks the advantage line. The support in the form of Wilson was there. The first real attacking opportunity. It goes to Pearson. A nice simple run around with Fitzhenry. He presents no real problem to the defensive line. Jobson, the tackler. Up it goes. It is a test. Cavell on the left wing. Had Miles on the inside at 1,000,000 miles an hour. Cavell looked the wrong way. And the pressure is very much relieved for this Newcastle side.
Back on the line, Steve.
And worrying signs there for the Knights as well. Didn't put any pressure at all on Robert Miles when he put that kick in the air. And they're going to get plenty of tested, or going to get tested under the high ball a lot unless they put pressure on the kickers.
Matthew Gidley, State of Origin star, perhaps a little unlucky to miss out on test selection. That's Matt Parsons. His third hit up of the afternoon already. A very rushed kick off the side of the boot. Covell. Good field position for the Tigers on one. Miles. Good hard running from Mark O'Halloran. He too with the season a little punctuated by injury. Centre again straight up the middle. Back from a 2-game suspension, Darren Centre.
You pushed him down. You pushed him down. Just wait.
The captain has been good in the early exchanges.
He certainly has. He's fresh. He's, as you said, he's been out for two weeks with suspension. But here he's trying to get to his feet, trying to get a quick play of the ball. Jobson wouldn't get off him. And Steve Clark gives the penalty. The Tigers want to keep the pressure on. They're not going for goal. They want to go for the try.
A kicker of the ability of Covell in the side. They took the gamble at 6 and it has backfired. A drop ball on the first possession and a drop in back play. Our referee Clark hitting the deck.
That's now 1.
Surprising they didn't take what would seem to be an automatic 2 with Luke Covell.
Yeah, it was surprising because there's the big bruises. No doubt they would have put it dead, and even if he missed the goal, they would have got possession back. So strange decision.
It's Daniel Abraham, jersey number 12. This is Parsons. Nice ball out the back.
Knock on Luke Quigley.
Quigley with the knock on. Parsons disgusted from the deck.
Feet loose. Thanks, mate.
An imposing figure, Big Matty Parsons.
He is, but there's signs of nervousness and tension in the Newcastle side. The way they're playing the game, they're rushing things. As we know, Andrew John's not out there who usually settles them down. They look very disjointed.
That's one.
With a deal of impatience in the opening 6.5 minutes from the Newcastle Knights. To the right-hand side through Terry Hill.
2.
He's driven to the ground 29 metres out. Tackle number 2 for the West Tigers. They've dominated possession in the early exchanges. Centre at acting half. Plays the distributor role. He's been effective running. Fitzhenry with a nicely weighted little chip. Confusing Hughes, who will have to do well to get out, but he doesn't. The enthusiastic defence of the Tigers, Wilson and Covell on the left-hand side for the home side, trapping the Novocastrian fullback.
And a perfectly weighted kick there by Fitzhenry. Bounce evaded Hughes, and what about the chase? The Tigers, they're pumped today. They believe in themselves. There's a feeling that they can really go on with this game.
Stay.
Miles fields the ball, finds his second rower, and it has been stood down from captain. That is O'Neill. Out the back it goes, and play on. Perhaps a stroke of luck for the Tigers. Withers uses Scandalis as the decoy. It ends up in the hands of Ben Galea. Again, they operate the blind side. Fitzhenry, quick on his feet, a good step. Tackled 11 metres out. A hint of a second tackle. Centre looking to expose a weakness down the centre. This is the 4th. Withers off the right foot. Somehow gets it out the back. Miles charges to the line. The final tackle option. Fitzhenry, again a nice kick, and perhaps first points.
Billy. see if the Newcastle bloke grounded the ball, and then see if he didn't see if the West Tigers bloke forced it for a try, please.
Checking two things as we will head to the video, and our video referee for this afternoon is Bill Harrigan.
Yeah, well, the Tigers all but scored on the previous play when Robert Miles got pulled down millimetres short of the try line. They were short on the right-hand side defence, Newcastle. The Tigers elected to put the kick through. Now, Craig Hall, I don't think he doesn't force it. And, well, the question is, does Cavell get his forearm on the football, downward pressure? Sorry, not Cavell, it's Johnny Wilson, I should say. There could be a knock-on. That's the only question. I'd like to have another look at it from the other angle, from this angle, to see whether he gets downward pressure before a knock-on. And, well, I've got to say, I think that's a try.
Right forearm. Would indicate.
Do you get forearm downward pressure on the football whilst it's on the ground? Oh, it's one of those ones that we've seen go either way this year, but I would say that's a try.
Once again, the video referee is Bill Harrigan, as the crowd, and a very partisan West Tigers crowd here at Campbelltown. And it is first points to the Tigers through centre three-quarter Johnny Wilson. They have dominated field position, they have dominated time with the ball, and that has been converted directly into points.
Yeah, they're playing with enormous enthusiasm. Great ball out of dummy half there, and a superb kick through. Johnny Wilson, tremendous chase. Bad bounce, awkward bounce by, for Craig Hall, I should say. Tremendous kick through. Wilson on the spot. It was probably lucky. He didn't actually look like he had sight on the football, but his arm just happened to be in the right position to put downward pressure. And that's a just reward for the enthusiasm of this Tigers chase. The Tigers kick chase has been superb.
They are lacking a great deal of the experience that is able to compose the Knights in goal after situations like this with the Johnses and the Baderises, O'Davises, etc., not on the side.
We also have a look at them there. There's really no talk behind the line. The body language is not confident at all. The last two games here, they've lost at Campbelltown. I'm sure that's in the back of their minds as well.
Shooting at 80% for the season, and that percentage continues to rise. For Luke Covell, it is the Tigers 6, the Knights 0 after just 10 minutes. The girls have got something to smile about. So too the boys in the front row. The Tigers, though, an alarming statistic here. They have lost 5 of their last 6 here at Campbelltown.
Stay inside.
Second passage of play is underway. Mark O'Neill getting the ball directly from halfback Lincoln Withers. The Newcastle line not going up as one, and not with a lot of urgency, it must be said. This is Hill. The front row of Parsons and Perry there to greet him. Again, the short side. Scandalis hit. That's good body contact centre field. Steve Simpson, the man driving. This is Pearson. Tackled 40 metres out from his line. On the fourth. Withers, not waiting until the last, with the assistance of the breeze. Just over the 20-metre line, but he was outside the 40 when he kicked the ball. That would have been the dream result for the Tigers. This is out on the 40-20 kick by probably the best part of 3 metres.
You were very borderline to a flop, mate. Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, yours happened just after it.
There is Lincoln Withers. The club signing Scott Prince for halfback duties, it would seem, next year. They haven't secured the services of Lincoln Withers or Darren Centre for that matter. Many of the Tigers still unsigned. In fact, news coming in today that the Tigers were expected to announce former Shark, who's been in England, Nick Graham, had agreed to come to terms to play as a Tiger for 2004, but Wayne, that's not the case.
No, the word is that he's changed his mind and is now linked to Brisbane and will be going to the Brisbane Broncos. So that's breaking news at the ground here today.
Galea off the left foot. Tries to go over Daniel Abraham. Centre field again. That is Darren Centre. He's been effective from dummy half in his running. A little stop-start, and that's heavy body contact.
Now.
On the 5'8", Fitzhenry. Withers puts it up. The chasing team is there en masse from the Tigers. Well taken by Josh Smith, the man who was called into the first-grade squad with the late omission of the Mad Dog, Adam McDougall.
Full marks to the Tigers the way they started this game as well. They're playing a very controlled, consistent pattern in attack. They're not trying to throw the ball wide. They're not trying to take any risk. They're just going through the centre of the ruck and having plenty of success going through the middle of the ruck, which is a major concern to Michael Hagan, I'm sure.
The West Tigers good with the football, perhaps a little conservative. They have the third best completion rate of any side in NRL 2003. And against the breeze from Kurt Gidley, that is a nice territorial kick in the hands of Robert Miles.
That's one.
As I was saying, the third best completion rate, completing their sets, the Tigers, this year. But they have scored the least amount of points, least amount of tries, and they have the least amount of line breaks of any side. Wilson looking to add to that stat with a line break of his own. Good running from the former back rower. Terry Hill chiming in. You can hear the crowd finding voice here at Campbelltown, pleading with referee Clark for an offside infringement. Tackle number 5. Again, they go to Withers. His kicking game has been varied but strong in the opening 15 minutes. Mark Hughes.
Back here, Tigers. Go.
Hughes filling in at fullback for O'Davis.
Here is, boys. Wait here.
Another one in the long line of injuries for this Newcastle side.
And you talk about injuries, and it tests the depth of the club. I mean, in reserve grade today, in the Premier League, I should say, Newcastle were defeated 72 points to 16. So the impact on injuries has an effect right through the club. And in first grade today, there's 8 players in the Newcastle lineup, the Newcastle 17, that have played less than 20 games of rugby league.
Plenty of work to do for Mark O'Halloran. The Newcastle Knights defensive line was up quickly from the chase. They covered ground quickly to trap the wing three-quarter in goal to get the repeat set.
Well, that was a fantastic effort because it was a long kick and the chase was superb. He actually got back into the field of play, but the chase was that good that the Newcastle Knights players forced him back in goal. They'll get a repeat set now. Put the Tigers under pressure for the first time in this game.
Time has been blown off by referee Clark.
Stay on side.
Not going to allow the Tigers to waste time. They lead 6 points to 0, the home side. Without a lot of energy getting to the ball, Mark Hughes. This is Perry.
That's one. Movement down. Mark is straight. Go.
Parsons heading down the pipeline.
2.
Good metres by the front row, combining for 23, in fact. The opening 2 tackles. Gidley, a nice inside ball. That is Daniel Abraham. Sean Rudder back into the position of pivot to Gidley. One wider to Craig Hall. Is forced by numbers in defence to head back infield. This is the 4th for the Knights.
Thanks, guys.
They will not finish the set.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Tigers feed loose.
Let's have a look exactly why.
Lost cold, mate.
Poor ball security by Craig Hall, but Wayne Pearce, was there a stray hand there?
I don't think there was, Andy. I think it was just, yeah, as you said, poor ball security. I think the referee was on the spot and correct decision.
You ready, mate? Out! That's one.
Jersey number 4, Dean Hallertau.
Josh Perry. You're right now.
For the Tigers, a young centre that has impressed since making his debut a couple of weeks ago. Anthony LaFranchi, you just saw in jersey number 16, is on for the home side. The first coach to go to the interchange is Tim Sheens. Johnny Scandalis getting the break. Again, operating down a very narrow blind. They obviously see a weakness there in the Newcastle outfit. This is the final tackle. Right on halfway, the ball is played. Back to Lincoln Withers, their halfback. Mark Hughes barely had to move off the blade of grass he was standing on. And Withers Enthusiastic in his chase from his own kick. Tried to put the big shoulder charge on the Novocastrian. Gidley. His wing three-quarter Hall had overrun him, so the supporting play wasn't an option. That's Hall. Gained the blind side through Simpson. This Tigers line up very quickly in defence.
Keep coming, Darren. Keep coming.
The final play option. They will go to Sean Rudder for this kick. One of the versatile points of the Newcastle attack. Rudder and Gidley both capable with the football on that final tackle, and O'Halloran makes the best part of 12 metres. Alatown.
The Tigers pretty basic when they bring in the ball off their own line. They don't take any risks. That's one of the reasons why they've got such a high completion rate. It doesn't tend to threaten the opposition, but what they want to do is get to their kick and use this breeze.
They are making good metres, sorry, Wayne, right up the centre of the field. Withers just outside the 40. That is a long, wind-assisted kick. And if you take the point where Mark Hughes gathered the ball, they made the best part of 90 metres on that set. A good 18-metre run by the fullback.
And you can see the Newcastle Knights are still walking back into play at the moment. They've really been stretched in terms of the amount of tackling they've had to do early in this game. And that's a function of running into such a stiff breeze in this first half.
The West Tigers have had 56% of possession in the opening 19 minutes. They've also enjoyed field position. Looking to even that statistic a little bit as the Knights head into Tigers territory on one of the rare occasions. Gidley into the breeze, a torpedo kick, a good test for Miles. Isn't able to take the ball on the full, but knocks it back. Not filling you full of confidence as a West Tigers supporter, Robert Miles underneath the high ball at the back.
Yeah, that was an odd one to take, that one, though. It was swirling around. He's had his problems this year at fullback, but he's deputised and filled in very well. Tim Sheens was a little stuck midway through the season. Joel Kane wasn't quite working out and had a couple of injuries. He's thrown...
Galea has found open space. He has beaten the fullback, and the second rower will run 75 metres to claim the Tigers' second, and don't they love it here at Campbelltown?
What a tremendous effort. There's solo effort there by Ben Galea. We spoke about the fact that the Tigers, out of their own territory, don't do anything flash. They just hit the ball up, look to get to their kick, and a one-on-one miss in the end was the reason that Ben Galea got through. Great little left foot step. First up to beat the line, then to beat Hughes at the fullback position, and he's got speed to burn. For back rower, when you consider he's played a lot of 5'8" this year, a lot at lock, and he's pretty quick for a back rower. He hits the accelerator. He's got support play on the inside, but Daniel Fitzhenry was not needed, and he goes over for the try. But poor defence on the fringes of the ruck there. There was no constructive play required. It was just a little jink. Inside defenders didn't work well. And he broke the first line of defence, but Mark Hughes was across too quickly at fullback, and he wasn't in a position to make the tackle either.
The 14th of his career, captained the Australian schoolboys in 1996. From JP2 at Marayong, Benny Galea. A Parramatta junior, another one of the many Parramatta juniors plying their trade elsewhere in the NRL. And Cavell from a reasonably similar angle to his first kick of the afternoon. A timely try as Newcastle seemed to be gaining a little momentum in attack. No problems for Cavell. And at the quarterway point of this round 20 clash, it is the home side, up by 12-0. Newcastle Knights went into this side red-hot favourites, as it has been reported throughout the week, with the news that Johns and Badeiras wouldn't be playing. It has been arguably the most bet-on rugby league match of the season. All the money in favour of the underdogs, the Tigers.
And I think it's not only a function of the Knights being without so many representative players and the world's best player in Andrew Johns. It's also the fact that the Tigers have played very, very well over the past 5 or 6 weeks. They were just pipped by Canberra last week. Before that, they had a huge win over Cronulla. Before that, they had a narrow loss to Melbourne. They beat the Roosters. They had a narrow loss to Cronulla.
And speaking of those narrow losses, in fact, their last 4 losses have all been under 8 points or less, indicating they are competing in every match, which has been a facet of the Tigers' play and the Tigers' game that they haven't necessarily done in years past.
That's one. Here it is. Anthony.
The defence again up very quickly from the West Tigers. And as we pointed out earlier, you can still see the likes of Steve Stimson, Matt Parsons, who in fact is getting a rest in back play. They are very slow to get back.
And look at that enthusiasm in defence. They really are pumped. They believe that they can not only win this game, and I was speaking to some of the Tigers before the game, they believe they can have a comprehensive win that will in fact put them on the rugby league map. They've been in the wilderness probably since the joint venture began. Tim Sheeds has done a tremendous job turning them around, and this is a chance to really put their mark, or the club, on the board, I should say.
Fielded on the first bounce by Robert Miles. He goes to the right-hand side, looking for a way through Quinn. His wing partner on that side of the field is Josh Smith. This is Terry Hill, who of course suffered that nasty spear tackle in Canberra last weekend. O'Neill combining well with O'Halloran, who tries to get it out the back. He is slammed to the ground by Simpson and company centre field. O'Halloran feeling every bit of that. Galea looking for a repeat performance. Hill heavily involved, so too this man, Corey Pearson. The final tackle play. Miles is the kicker. That has come off the side of the boot. Just inside the field of play, Mark Hughes takes the ball. That is easy meters for the Newcastle fullback. On that occasion, the Tigers line certainly didn't have the vigour it has had in the opening 24 minutes.
It hasn't, but it was a strange kick there by Robert Miles. Once again, the Newcastle defence wasn't up on him. He had plenty of time to put it up in the air, but it was just miscued, misguided.
Gidley up the centre, rolling his sleeves up, looking to help some of the bigger men who are catching their breath in his side. This is brother Kurt.
Here it is, boys.
Rudder, again on the short side. A midfield kick, catches Miles out. His positional play hasn't been ideal so far today, Robert Miles. His meters made have been good. Terry Hill, who is headed to South Sydney in season 2004 and beyond. Back to where it all began. Corey Pearson has played the opening 26 minutes straight. Johnny Skandalis replaces his front row partner, back out in the centre. That is Skandalis. The hint of 6 again. Clark hasn't called it as yet. This is Galea.
5.
In fact, this is the 5th and final.
That's it.
Withers from acting half gets a nice long kick. It is perfectly weighted by Lincoln Withers, but the Tigers' defensive line hasn't moved up as one, nor with the pace, so it is easy yards for the Knights. I thought perhaps Mark Hughes was going to be tested then, Junior. That wasn't the case.
No, it was a pretty poor kick chase on that occasion. Perfectly weighted kick by Lincoln Withers, though. And what about the chase by Johnny Skandalis in the end to put a one-on-one?
Game working it out from their own line. The Knights being asked to make more tackles than that of the West Tigers, but it is missed tackles that are cruelling the Newcastle side as they trail by 12. The missed tackles read 9-3. The 9 is Newcastle, which is very unlike this Knights outfit. O'Halloran grabs it in the big right paw, collecting and securing the football. Galea getting a rest. Onto the field for the Tigers comes Willie Manu. Another one off to South Sydney for next year. Withers, a nice short ball, finds Halatau, all but through the gap. It was a good tackle from Smith. They persist down the short side, and the Tigers attack, not aware of the ball thrown by O'Neill. This is Manu. In fact, they have an advantage on the left-hand side. Manu brushes off Gidley. A beautiful inside ball to Daniel Fitzhenry. An upset in the making at Campbelltown because that's the Tigers' third.
Well, I don't know about an upset, Andy. Plenty of people tipped this sort of result. Well, the game's a long way from completion, but the way the Tigers are going, the further this game goes, the further they're going to go away because the Knights aren't completing tackles. The Tigers are offloading at will, and Willie Manu, he just brushes them aside. Not only that, he gets to the fullback Mark Hughes, and Mark Hughes can't contain him. Fitzhenry in support, goes over, outpaces the defence to score underneath the uprights. But Willie Manu, have a look here. He got that great little Matt Gidley flick out the back to Fitzhenry, who's been on the spot all day long and deserves that try. It's a tremendous effort by the Tigers to, well, it was a tremendous effort to keep that ball alive on that occasion, but major concerns for the Knights. They're not locking up the one-on-one tackles, and the Tigers are playing with enormous confidence, you know, throwing those sort of passes as we saw by Willie Manu.
Very good. Well.
Covell with his third attempt of the afternoon, all of reasonable angle. And the gamble to rest Andrew Johns and the gamble to rest Danny Buderus after the rep season may not be paying off for Michael Hagan, who could be sitting there as we approach the half hour thinking perhaps it might have been worth starting with his 2 stars and seeing what happened.
I mean, that's one argument, Andy, but on the other side of the coin, Michael Hagan, I'm sure, he's lost some sleep over it because he doesn't want to play the Knights today. No guarantee of winning anyway, and risk burning his star players out for the rest of the season. He'd rather give them a rest, freshen them up. There's 6 rounds to go, and hopefully the Knights can get back on a roll when they're nice and fresh.
Let's have a look at the remaining 6 weeks for the Knights, and that is poor from the Tigers. LaFranchi looking up into the sun, unable to control the football. And in the remaining 6 weeks, this is how the Newcastle run home looks. The Sea Eagles, the Cowboys, the Warriors, Raiders, Dragons, Cowboys again. Michael Hagan, gobsmacked almost, sitting up there watching from high in the stands, hoping that this attacking opportunity results in points for the visiting Knights, who in fact have only won 1 from their last 5 road trips. Struggling to win away from Energy Australia Stadium. Steve Simpson tackled on the 3rd, 12 metres out. It is 18-0 in favour of the Tigers. A 3rd man ball, in fact. Out wide, the Knights continue to attack. Through Daniel Abraham. Gidley. Inside ball to Matthew Kennedy. Bumps off one. Is eventually taken in a 3-man Tigers tackle. This is the final. It goes to Gidley. Well fielded by Covell and out of the danger zone by the wing. 3-quarter. That is good work from young Luke Covell.
And it was good defence by the Tigers, but the Knights, they're trying to go wide. They're trying to go around the Tigers. And what the Tigers are doing, they're getting up off their line. They're shutting down the Knights players, and they're frustrating the Knights players. The Knights have not taken on the Tigers in the forwards as yet, and I think that's where they've really got to focus their attack, because they're not going to go around the Tigers when they're in this frame of mind.
Prepared to play an expansive game, the Tigers, deep inside their own territory, spinning the ball from the Western to Eastern grandstand. Another good territorial kick for the West Tigers, planting the Knights deep in their own territory.
Yes, and it was a kick on early tackles there, and that's smart play by Lincoln Withers. He didn't want to wait till the last tackle to kick the football. He wanted to use this breeze, get the ball down the other end, and let the Knights make the mistakes. I'll tell you what, there's a few of the Knights players walking too. They're looking very, very tired. And as we see there, interchange player, Benji Marshall, who's making his debut. He's an 18-year-old that the Tigers have got big raps on. Was born in New Zealand, just made the Australian schoolboy side. This is his debut. He's a player of the future.
And playing at fullback in jersey 14, he will be tested immediately. The Knights down the right. Marshall misses. in his first tackle in senior football, and Anthony Quinn will score the first for the Newcastle Knights after 32 minutes.
And it was down that left-hand side attack that the Knights penetrated in the end. They put plenty of pressure on, and the Tigers have held up defensively up until this point in time, but a good quick play of the ball. They were caught short on numbers. The cover defence, Johnny Skandalis coming across. Benji Marshall, who had just come on, really hasn't got his timing as yet. And it was a good try in the end to Anthony Quinn, but it was that short side. They were short on numbers. It was a good quick play of the ball. And solo effort in the end by Quinn to get out of that tackle, but full marks to the Knights to bounce back. The Tigers have got to make sure that they number up on that short side. The Knights have been trying to go around them out wide. They've been closing down that, but it's on the short side that they've got to really stay alert.
A difficult assignment for young Benji Marshall in his first touch in the top grade. An overlap against the Newcastle Knights. Someone of the size and pace of Anthony Quinn bearing down on Daniel Abraham with the goal-kicking duties, and why not for the Knights when you strike them like that? 12 points is the difference after 33 minutes here at Campbelltown Stadium. It is the Tigers 18 and the Knights 6.
And you talk about experience, Andy. You have a look at the Tigers bench versus the Knights bench. On the Tigers bench, there's a total of 244 games of experience. The Knights bench, there's 19 games experience between the four players on the bench. So huge differential in terms of experience between the two sides today. And I've got to say, with only 6.5 minutes left till half-time, that's shown on the scoreboard, because the Knights have really been, looked like a nervous outfit. They've been a disjointed outfit. Despite that try, they're still a long way behind in this game.
An injury for the Tigers. Terry Hill very slow to get to his feet. In fact, in back play, he's only just doing that at the moment. There is the lock forward, Hill. Tackle number 3 for the Knights as they progress up the field through Steve Simpson. Straight down the pipe they go this time. This is Quigley. His opposing number, LaFranchi, ending that run.
Very close.
Gidley. It turns at right angles to confuse Benji Marshall at fullback, and a good territorial kick from the Newcastle Knights, again with the pressure being applied to the Tigers.
It was a good kick in the end. Matty Parsons, he's looking to get back on the field to provide a bit more inspiration, a bit more leadership. I've got to say the kicking game from the Knights has been better than I thought it would have been. Gidley has done a tremendous job in terms of putting quality kicks in, and he's been supported by Rudder, who's put some good length kicks in as well.
Terry Hill back locking the scrum. This is Marshall. He is good on his feet, and you can hear the roar from this Campbelltown crowd. Big raps from the West Tigers on Benji Marshall. In fact, big raps from the majority of good judges in the rugby league world on this young man in jersey 14. A lot of pressure. He is pretty keen to get involved. Lincoln Withers is directing the Tigers around the park at the moment. Marshall right outside of him.
Well, the Knights are getting beaten at the play of the ball, and the penalties there, 3-0 in favour of the West Tigers, reflects the fact that the Knights are concerned at the speed of the Balmain, can't get the Balmain out of the boy, can you? The West Tigers play the ball, and that's where they've really been on the back foot through most of this game, and trying to slow them down, they're conceding penalties.
Under 5 minutes to half-time. The ball out the back is picked up by Withers. Perhaps the hint of a fumble. The halfback brushing off a couple. He is tackled 15 metres out from the line on one. Skandalis straight ahead for big Scando. Brushes off one. Again, they operate the short side. Another try. Their fourth. It is Anthony LaFranchi. Perfect timing for the home side.
22 points to 6 with a kick to come. Anthony LaFranchi just on the inside, little inside ball, but put it down to the big hit up by Johnny Skandalis. Power hit up, quick play the ball, and as I said a little earlier, The quick play the balls are causing all sorts of problems for the Newcastle Knights, not getting set in the defensive line. Darren Centre, who's having a tremendous game, darts out a dummy half, turns LaFranchi back on the inside, brings the football down on the try line, and that's good enough for us for a 4-pointer. But Anthony LaFranchi here, good step, good footwork for a big man, brings the ball down on the line, and that's a try. But the Knights just not physically being able to contain the big Tigers forwards in this game so far. And Anthony LaFranchi, 4 tries, 2003, pretty good effort for a back rower.
He certainly stepped up to the mark in 2003, LaFranchi, as a back rower. He's been moved into the front row on times from coach Tim Sheens, and he has responded well.
Well, he's come on with a power game. Willie Manu and Anthony LaFranchi off the bench have been superb in terms of just their explosive burst, their quick play the ball, and just getting this Tigers outfit on a roll.
The clear advantage to the West Tigers, who, as we said at the start, are out of the race for the semi-finals. Even the mathematical optimist of Tiger fans out there, they cannot reach it. Cavella's been one of the finds of the season with kicks like that. 3 converted tries the difference. As we fast approach half-time, it is the Tigers 24, the Knights 6.
And I suppose, from a Knights point of view, at least they can look forward to the use of this breeze in the second half. So if they can keep the Tigers trialless, if they can get some possession and maybe put some points on the board, or if they don't put points on the board, going with an 18-point deficit, provided they use the breeze well, provided they can slow down the Tigers, play the ball, they might be able to get themselves back into this contest in the second half.
The Tigers have dominated the ball both in attack and defence. They are slowing the Knights right down. They are accessing quick play the balls when in control of the footy. But for the Knights, it seems like there is a distinct lack of communication out there at the moment, which can be certainly understood with the absence of Johns and Badderas. They're 2 big talkers. The Knights in control of the footy, should I say the Tigers, again looking to play the expansive style of footy before going straight. Pay the penalty of a couple of metres there, the Tigers. Hill to Withers, just outside the 40. Plenty of pressure on the young halfback, and that was well fielded by Hughes at the back. He finds his wing partner, Josh Smith, grabbing infield. Craig Hall, jersey number 2, straight up the middle through Hall. He has plenty of speed. Darren Centre, the hooker, a nice covering tackle from the captain. Gidley, Kurt, centre field, perhaps in a position he would rather not be. Tackled by Skandalis and LaFranchi. The front row combining well. Abraham on the end of a beautiful ball from Sean Rudder. That's Rudder at acting dummy half. Again, they operate down the short side. Tim Sheens has seen enough, almost a smile on the veteran coach's face as he heads to the sheds just before half-time. Wilson. And we have a penalty going in favour of the Knights, as it looked Daniel Fitzhenry and John Wilson were going to head downfield.
Yeah, it looked like one of the Knights players was held off the football. I think it might have been Sean Rudder on that occasion, and the referee was on the spot to see it.
Tim Sheens has stopped on the stairs halfway down the grandstand. The Knights looking to bridge the gap in the minute before half-time. An inside ball to their fullback, Hughes. And we are going to go to the video referee.
Billy, just want to check for double movement, mate.
The gap certainly opened up in the defensive line for Hughes. Some good ball playing around the ruck from the Knights.
It certainly did. A good inside ball. Hughes hit the gap at speed. Now, it's a matter of whether his momentum carried him across to the line. And, well, he didn't get to the line with the original movement. Now the football looks like it's hit the ground and looks like he's lifted it, placed it again. So I think that could well be a double movement. It's not cut and dried though, I've got to say that. In fact, the camera angle there doesn't do anything to clarify the situation. Ball hits the ground, up he goes, and down again.
Can we say that his momentum has stopped at any stage through the tackle? His body is twisting at a funny angle out of the tackle of Winnie Manu.
Yeah, well, it didn't look like there was a second movement, and momentum could play. I mean, if I had to go one way or the other, I'd probably say rule in favour of a try, because I think that the momentum, the way they've interpreted the rule over the past 12 months would deem it to be a try.
For what it's worth, I agree, but Bill Harrigan doesn't. Penalty for double movement. Michael Hagan is disgusted. Mark Hughes can't believe it. The Tigers fans just love it.
Don't. Look, you're spending all your energy arguing with me. Go back there and do what you're supposed to do. Don't worry about me.
And I suppose from the Tigers' point of view, it's a bit of what goes around comes around, because last week against Canberra, they felt that they were denied a try which would have won them the game. And on that occasion, I felt they were rather fortunate.
The clock ticks down for the final seconds in this, the first 40 minutes. Here's a hypothetical for you. We've seen video referees stood down from games. What happens if a current leading referee who's acting as a video referee gets a decision wrong? Does he get stood down? There goes the siren at the end of the first 40 minutes. It has been a dominant performance from the Tigers, who lead at half-time to the tune of 24 points to 6 over the Newcastle Knights. Skandalis, Pearson, LaFranchi, the three of them as a rotating front row for the Tigers, as Wayne said, have been very effective. As we start the second half, a lot of work in front of the visiting Newcastle Knights, who in 2003 have a reasonably poor away record. They have won only one of their last 5 on the road. Parsons the first, this is Perry, and very good metres for the Knights. They have made 40 before the early kick from Kirk Gidley on tackle 3. And that in itself, Wayne Pearson, indication of how the Knights are looking to play this final 40 minutes with the assistance of a strong breeze.
Well, that's smart play, as the Tigers did in the first half. Don't worry about getting to tackle 5 or 6 before you kick. Kick after 2 or 3 tackles, let the breeze do the work, and try and force an error. From the Knights' point of view, they'll try and force an error with the Tigers.
The Tigers playing with good combination in the opening 40 minutes. This is Manu, who had a fabulous impact in the opening 40, has started the second 40 in similar fashion. It was touched. You can hear referee Clark yell in the background. We restart the tackle count. O'Neill down the short side. Nothing silly from the veteran. Centre in the hands of the halfback Withers. Skandalis with his 12th hit up of the afternoon. Again to Withers. Grabbing across field. Overran his support players. On the left-hand side is Fitzhenry, and that is the way they go. Nice short ball, and what a reward for the Tigers. John Wilson is in, and 2 minutes into the second half, the Tigers extend their lead.
It's a dream start for the Tigers in this second half. On that short side, once again, simple play. Johnny Wilson just coming back into a hole, hit the hole beautifully, and the Knights are just not moving up in defence, they're not communicating defence. Fitzhenry, beautiful short ball with Johnny Wilson, simplest of angles, back into the hole to cut through and score the try. But the Knights really are struggling communication-wise. They're just not, there's no real talk out there. On that occasion, it was Craig Hall and Matt Gidley getting caught out. Hall stayed out, Gidley came in, the hole was outside Gidley, and Johnny Wilson just came on a beautiful angle and scored the try.
That right-hand side defence for the Knights was the problem in the opening 40 minutes. A lot of the good metres and a lot of the line breaks from the Tigers were established down that right-hand side of the Knights' defence. Cavell probably didn't expect to be kicking for goal this early in the second half. Has a perfect record so far this afternoon. And whilst it has been a dream start for the Tigers in the second half, the nightmare intensifies for the visiting Newcastle Knights and their coach, Michael Hagan. 24 points the difference. Hagan looking at his watch, perhaps hoping there wasn't 36.5 minutes remaining.
Well, that's just a horror start there for the Knights. I mean, it was basic short-side defence on that occasion. They weren't outnumbered. They were man-on-man defence, but just Matt Gidley and Craig Hall took the wrong option. Both of them didn't communicate, and as a result, the hole opened up.
He shortened it.
Tim Sheens taking over the reins as head coach of the West Tigers, ably assisted by Roy Simmons in 2003. Is the NRL's most experienced referee and one of the game's most experienced players with ball in hand. That's Terry Hill. Cop one a little high, perhaps, from Kirk Gidley. Lincoln Withers tackled right on halfway. Tackle number 4. They go again to the short side. Inside man is Willie Manu again. It will be a big loss for the Tigers. A high player turnover at the end of 2003. Centre with the kicking duties. It has waited perfectly for the Tigers, and Darren Centre, the captain, put the pressure on with the kick and maintained the pressure with an enthusiastic chase.
Yeah, inspirational game so far by Darren Centre. He's been dangerous out of dummy half. He's made a stack of breaks out of dummy half.
Let's face it, Wayne, he is playing for his future. He is unsigned beyond this season.
He's unsigned with the Tigers. They've expressed an interest to talk terms, but he wants to secure a contract, and he wants to show today just what he can do and why he should be re-signed with the club. A big future for a young hooker out this way, Robbie Farah, who's now got to show Tim Sheens why he deserves the position ahead of Centre, and Centre has been good today. This is Benji Marshall, another young man with a big future in the game, making his NRL top grade debut this afternoon. Fitzhenry slips one out the side. Johnny Wilson with a double already this afternoon. Manu is pushing through them like they weren't there. He is held up. That the opening tackle, good scrambling defence. Credit to the Knights, but he broke that advantage line in a sign of sheer strength. He's done it time after time in this. He's like a human tank. He's not a real tall fella, but he's solid, he's thick, and he's strong. And fortunately for the Knights, there were just Knights bodies underneath him on that occasion. Otherwise, would have been another 4-pointer.
Fitzhenry to Marshall. Good long ball to O'Halloran. He has a little bit of room down the right flank. Well read by his opposing wing three-quarter. Marshall finds Terry Hill. Good to see the debutant keen to impress. He has been busy. Centre uses LaFranchi as the decoy. 24 points separates the two sides. A good second-man ball. Marshall. From the ground, Fitzhenry gets it away to Manu. John Wilson is in for a hat-trick. The Tigers are in, the Tigers will win.
And the problems continue to mount for the Newcastle Knights out wide. One of their biggest dramas is they're not moving forward within the defensive line. They're paddling across the field, giving the Tigers inside passes too much time to just have a look and offload. And have a look at their defenders out wide. They were short-numbered, but they were paddling across. Craig Hall on that occasion, too late in coming up. Fitzhenry gets a ball after Manu. And Manu, who's tempted to run and take through himself, manages to offload superbly. And Johnny Wilson, he goes over for yet another try. And we still had Luke Cavell outside him, unrequired, unwanted on that occasion. So the Tigers, they really can't believe the momentum, the role they're on at this point in time. And Johnny Wilson, 9 tries in 2003. He's having a huge season.
That he is, Johnny Wilson. He's found a home in the centres for the West Tigers. The record for most tries in a match has been set by Kevin McGuinness. That was against Souths last year with 4 tries. And with 32 minutes remaining, John Wilson perhaps with a chance at history. Cavell bringing it back. He's certainly got something about hitting the upright, and a wry smile from the winger and goal kicker. At the 4th time he's hit an upright in the last 3 games. A beautiful striker of the football.
Well, it's a great kick when you consider the breeze. He's kicking into a really stiff breeze, headwind, and to be able to even get that close is a tremendous effort.
Another restart of play. It has been a long afternoon for the Newcastle Knights, and the indication is it could get even longer. Just over half an hour remaining. Marshall at acting half. It's trapped well by the bigger men. Just short of the 30-metre line. Lafranchi has tackled just over it. Centre on the 3rd tackle.
And that's where the Knights are having all sorts of problems. In here, around the play of the ball, they're not able to slow down the Tigers' speed of the play of the ball. There's plenty of gaps around there, and that's bringing the outside defenders in. The Tigers are then going around them.
Darren Centre again with kicking duties. Mark Hughes with plenty of time at the back to field that ball. Runs into centre, runs into Withers. And not by design, really by choice. The Knights are left with no other options. They're almost playing a condensed defensive line the entire field because, as you said, Wayne, the way that the Tigers are getting a roll on with a quick play of the balls and going the short side, the Knights are left with no option. As far as defence, the Tigers are bruising. They continue to illustrate that. Manu, the tackler there. Again, they go to the right-hand side. This is Matthew Gidley. He has been quiet this afternoon. His brother Kurt cleans up the scraps at the back on this, the last.
Play on, play on.
Not a late tackle, says referee Clark. O'Halloran traps the ball. He has Marshall there in support, opts to go himself. Tackled 18 metres out from his own line. 34 points to 6 in favour of the West Tigers, who went into this round 20 clash on 13th position on the NRL ladder. It is a vastly improved outfit to the one that struggled mid-season. They're finding a little bit of form and confidence, and with that comes communication. Lafranchi tackled on the 5th. Marshall at acting half. Distributes the ball to Withers. An awkward bounce for Craig Hall on the Newcastle right wing. It finds the sideline. The Knights won't perhaps even happy with a kick like that. Give them a chance to regather and suck a few big ones in, because defensively they must be getting tired.
Well, they've got to look to someone to provide a bit of spark, and at this point in time that they're just getting belted backwards every time their forwards are going trying to get a bit of a roll on. The Tigers are out stinging them, they're out driving them, and you know, can't see too many bright spots for Coach Michael Hagan at this point in time to take out of this game.
Sean Rudder cleaned up by John Wilson. Matthew Gidley, good second man ball. That's Josh Smith tackle, just short of the 40-metre line. Anthony Quinn, the try scorer for the Newcastle Knights. Parsons, the captain of the Knights side in the absence of Andrew Johns.
Get up, Will, get up, Will!
Trying to milk the penalty right on halfway. Kurt Gidley, the defence up very quick.
And you have a look, compare the Tigers' speed of the defensive line, putting pressure on versus the Knights, which are paddling across the field, giving the Tigers plenty of time to put their plays on.
Cavell charging back into the line. He is tackled 12 metres out from his own. Marshall steps one, beats another. Benji Marshall on debut, confusing the Knights' defence. 38 metres in the opening 2 tackles of this set. John Wilson looking at a piece of club history. Beats the 5'8". Beautiful inside ball. And Daniel Fitzhenry will collect his second of the afternoon. What a day for the Tigers.
Tremendous try there by the Tigers, but put it down to the rookie, the debutant, Benji Marshall. He was the guy that put the footwork on. He was the guy that had the Knights scrambling. He got a quick play of the ball. Here we see here, Benji Marshall. Look at his footwork. If he's not a player of the future, then I haven't seen one. When he gets tackled, gets up, plays the ball nice and quick, and the Knights are really scrambling. They're struggling. We see Nicholas Withers get a ball out wide. Now this tackle should have been made. But Johnny Wilson, big and strong, he gets through the defensive line and offloads once again to Daniel Fitzhenry on the inside, running support play. And he goes over for yet another try, and well, this score could be anything. And let me tell you, that's a big concern for the Knights too, because making it into the finals could come down to points differential. And the Newcastle points differential this year hasn't been all that flash up to this point in time, and it's getting a lot worse by the moment.
Cavell, with his 7th attempt at goal, has no problems from right in front, the sharpshooting winger. 40 points to 6. An upset here at Campbelltown, and it is a thrashing. Michael Hagan not enjoying his time in Sydney Southwest.
You can talk about the Knights and how poorly they've been defending in this game, but I think you can also talk about how well the Tigers have been attacking. They really are playing with confidence, and that's something that they didn't do in the first half of the year. The back half of this season, they've started to play with confidence, they've started to run support play, and they've come up with a lot more offloads.
The West Tigers' completion rate has been awesome in one word. They have completed 28 of 30 sets. An incredible percentage. As we said earlier, so far in 2003, they have the 3rd best completion rate. Well, that will certainly bump the stats up appreciably. Ben Galea. This is Fitzhenry. Trying something a little different. Withers is there.
That's a knock. 0.
Not by design. It ends up in the hands of Josh Perry. This is Matt Gidley looking to get a little busier in the second half. At his 7th hit up of the afternoon. They've been forced to make just on 50 more tackles than the West Tigers, the Knights. So fatigue is certainly starting to set in. This is Hughes. Grasped by Mark O'Neill. Gidley. Good face ball. And fabulous defence from the West Tigers. And that foot is perilously close to the sideline there. He did well there, Josh Smith, to remain in the field of play. This is Michael Ennis on debut for the Knights in jersey number 19. Gidley puts it high.
Backwards off the Tigers. That's one.
And you heard the ruling from referee Clark, backwards off the Tigers. Marshall cleans up at the back. Lincoln Withers, who has again been busy in defence, 15 tackles, that his 7th hit up. 10 kicks in there as well. Darren Sender and Mark O'Neill are the 2 statsmen, though, for the Tigers. Both getting through a lot of work and a lot of quality work.
And the yards are too easy to make in and around the ruck. Have a look at this yardage. The Knights forwards have been comprehensively outplayed by the Tigers forwards today. And that's caused all sorts of problems, not only in and around the play of the ball, but out wide, because the Knights defenders out wide are being forced to compress in, and then the Tigers are taking full advantage of that by going around them.
And as we saw there, still plenty of sting in the Tigers' defence. Gidley, again, taken by Pearson, taken by O'Neill. That O'Neill's 22nd tackle of the afternoon, second only to Darren Sender, who was there in defence with Steve Trindle on Daniel Abraham. Inside ball. That's Matthew Kennedy, tackled on the 4th. Good metres for Steve Simpson. A season punctuated by injury. He is tackled on the 40. This is the final tackle. Gidley with a crossfield kick. Good communication at the back. Cavell deciding to take the tackle himself. He had Benji Marshall there. This is the young man. Jersey number 14. There's certainly signs of brilliance there. Perhaps collared a little high from Matt Gidley. Marshall took offence to the tackle. The Bulls, Steve Trindle is on. Anthony LaFranchi, one of the try scorers for the Tigers. A well-earned break. Just short of halfway. And over it, courtesy of Corey Pearson. This is the final tackle. Again, they go to Lincoln Withers. Finds plenty of room.
Yep, you're all on.
A kick without the depth that perhaps he would have liked. Craig Hall fields the ball and makes a couple of metres of his own. Hughes again. Reaching the three-quarter point of this contest. Has been a dominant performance. As far as the interchange is concerned, very little separates the two sides, both with 5 interchange players remaining. The Knights will need to utilise every one of them. They are running on tired legs. Gidley on the last tackle. A nice long ball. Out to Anthony Quinn. Back to Rudder. It ends up in the hands of Gidley. Forced to get a rush kick away. Cavella's there, no pressure whatsoever, and a poor chasing team from the Knights. Affords Cavell the opportunity at metres. Darren Centre. Asks Steve Trindle to put his hand up. He obliges. He's tackled 30 metres out. Centre again up the middle. Darren Centre was tended to. What looked to be a left wrist injury by the doctor after that last try.
And what's really impressed me about the Tigers today, a number of things have impressed me, but the fact that they haven't pushed passes since they've been in front. They're comprehensively in front now. The temptation is there as the Tigers and Lincoln Withers tries a short kick option. The temptation is always there to try and throw the ball around, to try and take risks because you're a fair way in front, but they're playing disciplined football. They're playing constructive football, but in a very disciplined way, and that means that they're getting their completions, they're getting to the end of their sets, and they're not affording the Knights the luxury of easy possession.
You just saw Regan Tanner in jersey number 17 preparing to head into action, into battle for the Knights. Steve Simpson is the forward that will be rested. He comes from the field. That their 8th interchange of the afternoon. This is Josh Perry. Abraham, good face ball. Again, the defence is strong and complete from the Tigers.
Well, that was a poor option on the last tackle. The Tigers were there in numbers on the short side. It was the last tackle. It was really, they were hiding to nothing, the Knights, on that occasion. The kick would have been a much better option, and that's just I suppose, the importance of a good organiser, an Andrew Johns type player that can sum up a situation and make the right decision. Today, the Knights are making too many wrong decisions, too many poor decisions, and they're paying dearly for it.
The Knights have lost 3 out of their last 4 matches, and their last 2 to Penrith and the Bulldogs. Down the left flank again, the Tigers are impressive. They came into this game in 9th position on the NRL ladder. Unfamiliar territory. Hill on the inside to O'Neill. Marshall is there. Beautiful evasive action. Unable to control the footy. But Benji Marshall, who came on for Robert Miles at fullback, has certainly added some spark and creativity to this West Tigers attacking outfit. That's Tanner in jersey number 17. Just over the 30-metre line, Gidley. Good wide ball to Rudder. They have an overlap. Will they be able to use it? 2 of the big men, the forwards one-on-one, and that is a drop ball from Daniel Abraham, jersey 12 playing at lock forward.
And once again, the Knights trying to go around the Tigers. They just won't learn. The Tigers are too enthusiastic, and they're in the faces of the Knights defenders. And on this occasion, cold drop there. Mark O'Neill came in hard to make the tackle, but cold drop there by Daniel Abraham. But the Knights continue to try and go around the Tigers before they lay a platform in the forwards.
The Tigers, again, in attacking error. Errors are 4-4. completion rate, again, the Tigers have been outstanding. 32 from 35, where the Knights have really fallen down as missed tackles. They have missed 31 to the Tigers 13. In fact, the Knights, should I say, missed 50 tackles in last week's loss to Penrith. So that is an area that Michael Hagan will no doubt address over the coming week. Poor ball security from Lincoln Withers. A little fumble at acting half. Just looking ahead of the play before picking up the football.
Hang on, boys, we've got no ball. Just wait, fellas. Get yourselves bound. Keep it in there. Didn't even get in. Didn't even get in. Came straight out here. In front of that leg. Yeah, you two. Let's cool it, cool it. Yeah, keep it in there, Steve Trindle. It's out.
The big boys getting a little testy. Defence has been fabulous for the 64 minutes of this contest from the West Tigers. The Knights going nowhere fast.
And the Knights looking physically very tired, so this last 15 minutes it could be a real problem for them in terms of a score blowout, and that's something that the West Tigers will be looking to sort of reinforce, because their biggest previous winning margin was against South Sydney, and it was 50 points to 4 last year at Aussie Stadium, so they're getting very, very close to that.
That's one.
It's not just the Tigers' defence. You saw Newcastle looking up at the line there, forcing the error. They know they've been running into a brick wall for 65 minutes. This is Pearson. Ball playing veteran front rower, making good yards. Constantly keeping the defensive outfit in two minds. Marshall. Sloppy ball. It is picked up by the Knights, who are then driven into touch.
Well, everything going the way of the Tigers at this point in time. I mean, it was a sloppy pass out there. The Knights, I think it was Josh Smith, came up with possession, but there's nothing else he could do, and a tremendous driving tackle by Dean Hallertau pushed him over the sideline. The Tigers now will regain possession from the scrum.
Nice little work play, Benji Marshall. It ends up in the hands of Wilson. Back to Dean Hallertau. Takes two Knights to bring him to the grass. 10 metres out on the first tackle. Withers inside ball to Trindle. Trindle puts the head down. Pearson. Withers. In fact, it's Marshall. Well read defensively by Daniel Abraham, driving the Tigers back a little. Easy meters for Lincoln Withers, and an easy try for the Tigers. They continue to impress here at Campbelltown Stadium.
Well, that was an embarrassing try on that occasion there. Lincoln Withers, he just dummied his way through, but it was just soft defence. Once again, the communication in the defensive line wasn't there. It was Jobson on the inside, it was Anthony Quinn on the outside, and the talk is just not there. That's a sign of lack of confidence. Communication. Jobson on the inside. Withers was too quick for him, but Anthony Quinn wasn't talking as well on the outside. So Withers drifts across, doesn't even throw the dummy. He looks the pass, doesn't throw the dummy, half accelerates, and that's just an embarrassing try. At this standard, at first grade standard, those tries just shouldn't happen.
His sixth for the season, Lincoln Withers, and like Darren Centre, has been impressive today as both men really battle for their footballing future. A lonely place behind the try line for the Newcastle Knights, who have been there 7 times previously this afternoon. The communication levels have dropped. A personal tally of 14 points for the afternoon for Luke Covell. And with 12 minutes remaining, the West Tigers looking to create a piece of history for themselves with 46 points to 6 over the Newcastle Knights. just under 10,000 on hand to witness this display from the Tigers. This is O'Neill. His 14th hit up of the afternoon. He leads in that department for the Tigers. Pearson. Darren Centre off the field, so Lincoln Withers has moved into the hooking role. Benji Marshall at first receiver, halfback. Good ball out the back from Corey Pearson to Dean Hallertau. Looked for Marco Haller and was unable to use his support play. Goes to Withers. Shepherded well, but not enough by his forward teammates. An easy charge down for the Knights in good field position. Rudder to Gidley at second receiver. To brother Matt. The hint of a forward pass, and you can hear the groans from the very pro West Tigers crowd. Quite a bit of feeling out there on the right-hand side. Matt Gidley, not normally his go, but very vocal to some of the opposing players, including Benji Marshall. Rudder. Hughes. Gidley, the younger brother. Ends up in the hands of Josh Smith, who was tackled on the final. Gidley moves back around. He's at first receiver, and a nicely weighted kick. And a good chasing team. That's been a rarity for the Knights today, but they showed a certain degree of commitment and enthusiasm there to trap the Tigers in goal. Their reward is a repeat set.
Yes, they haven't seen too much football down near the Tigers line in this half. Well, that was a forward pass there from Gidley. No wonder the crowd got a little upset with that. But a great kick through here and an equally good chase. Cavell does his best to get it out, but the chase is too good.
Probably didn't have to play at the football, Luke Cavell, as Parsons charges into the line. Dangerously close to the sideline, a three-man Tigers tackle. In 20, it's Todd Lowry, his second game of top-grade football. Plays the ball to Ennis, the debutant. This is Abraham in jersey 12. Under 10 minutes remaining, 40 the difference. Hughes, they have an overlap on the right-hand side and Gidley exposes it. It is nothing more than a consolation try. The State of Origin Centre scores out wide for the Newcastle Knights.
Off the back of a repeat set, the Knights go wide once again. They'd paid no dividends earlier in this match, or so far in this match, but on this occasion, they came up with the goods. The Tigers they were caught short. Knights come up with an overlap. Gidley, good long cutout pass to Mark Hughes. Tigers there, a little lack of communication. Probably dropped their concentration as well, being so far in front, but the Knights give them credit. They've hung in there, they've come back, scored a try, a consolation try, to reduce the margin slightly. And as I said a little earlier, the differential, the points differential could be crucial come semi-final time.
Daniel Abraham hasn't had a lot of practice goal kicking here at Campbelltown. Struck his first one well. A difficult angle for the part-time kicker, but he hits it just beautifully from the sideline. Abraham adds the extras. It's the Tigers 46, play the Knights 12, 8 minutes remaining here at Campbelltown.
Yeah, very good kick. He's got the bruise behind him. It actually was behind him, but it was coming across the football and timed it perfectly.
On one of the rare occasions this afternoon, the Tigers restart play. Matthew Kennedy, plenty of urgency in his run and good meters. Steve Simpson after a spell. Simpson has been busy for the Knights. 23 tackles, 11 hit-ups. Again, they look to play an expansive brand of football. That Sean Rudder tackled. by his opposing number, Terry Hill. Parsons again. Manu Pearson were there to greet him. Ben Galea with the assist. Back into Tigers territory. The difference in possession well and truly in favour of the Tigers, who have had 58% of the ball compared to Newcastle's 42%. Nicely weighted kick, applying the pressure at the back. The fullback and winger for the Tigers working well there. That's Miles and Covell. Miles, who has been used sparingly by Coach Tim Sheens this afternoon. By and large to accommodate the young man playing the ball at the moment, Benji Marshall. Good second man ball with Ben Galea. 75 metres earlier, perhaps he'll do it again. The Tigers are coming in support. Lincoln Withers, that would be just reward. Everything is going the Tigers' way, and that's worth smiling about for Lincoln Withers.
Once again, they hit the 50 mark, but once again, it was through the centre of the ruck. The Tigers coming. Benny Galea, tell you what, is he on fire today? Man from all positions. He's played hooker, he's played halfback, he's played lock. Today he's played second row. He's got a great turn of speed. The support players come from all over the place. Lincoln Withers is there. Puts a little jig on one, puts the cover defence to go over and score the try, but let me tell you, the Tigers, once they get a sniff of a half break today, they come from everywhere. Playing with enormous confidence. The bench players, they're delighted. It's not too often that the Tigers catch or reach 50 points, and in fact, this is only the second time that I shouldn't say we, but the West Tigers have hit 50 points, and there's a kick to come.
It will be their highest attacking score since entering the premiership in 2000 as a merged entity. Luke Covell with the honours. Under 5 minutes remain. Coach Tim Sheens and Roy Simmons not far from us here in the grandstand, and almost a hint of a smile as the record is broken for the Tigers by Luke Covell, their biggest score and attack. For the West Tigers, 52 plays 12. And that is 100 career points. His first milestone in what will be a fabulous career for this young man.
He's a tremendous kicker, but he's a very good player from the point of view he's coachable. He's learned a lot this year. He's come along leaps and bounds. He scored 100 points in only 12 games, first grade games. And when you consider that the Tigers struggled in those early games to score tries, he didn't get too many kicks at goal. He's really going exceptionally. I mean, he's kicking at over 80% strike rate, which is phenomenal.
He has equalled his own record of 8 goals, being the most in one game for the West Tigers. He set that just a couple of weeks ago against Cronulla in the Tigers' 44-12 victory. Terry Hill at acting half to Steve Trindle. The front row he used from the interchange bench, and searching a little high was Ennis.
Matty. Yeah, William. You come out here. No, just hang on a minute. He's just said, fair enough. Well, I got an issue. Mate, I'm not interested whether it's his first game or not. You don't tackle her in the head, and you've played more than your one game of first grade. You don't talk to me like that. You do that again, you'll be over there. Mate, you want to go over there if you want to argue with me? Suggest you keep it zipped.
It has been a frustrating afternoon for Matt Parsons.
It has. I mean, it was a touch high, probably worthy of a penalty, but I don't think Stephen Clark's at fault for the Newcastle performance today. Matty Parsons was a little frustrated with him on that occasion, but I thought Steve Clark's had a pretty fair game.
He has kept the two sides apart. Good metres from the Tigers. Trindle and Pearson making 20 in the opening two. Benji Marshall to Terry Hill. Again, Hill has been sound. He has been selective in his running.
Let him go! He walked forward.
To the right they go, Marshall. Nice inside ball. The Tigers looking for another. Wilson.
Lost it.
Loses the ball within the shadows of the line, looking to equal the club record. Look at the smile on Johnny Wilson's face. He knows it wasn't the right play.
It was tempting, but can you get the centres out of dummy half? The idea, but it was, he got a sniff. He thought it was close to going over, but in the end, he was nowhere near it.
Yep, when you're ready.
2 minutes remaining in that full-time siren. Can't come quick enough for Michael Hagan and the visiting Knights. It is going to be a long drive up the freeway tonight. Back to Newcastle. Gidley breaks the advantage line. Disappointing again from the Knights.
It is, and the Tigers will get another crack at the Knights' try line. And I don't know what the Knights are trying to do on that occasion. They're forcing passes when, once again, the defence was there in numbers. And it's the story of their day. Tales of woe today. They just haven't controlled possession. And they haven't been able to just stop this huge Tigers onslaught through the forwards.
Down.
The last attacking opportunity of the match. This is Fitzhenry.
That's one. Movement, Josh.
Keen to go in for number 10 for the afternoon. Even the Tigers' eternal optimist. And they have had a wager on the Tigers today in the absence of Johnson. Badeiros wouldn't have imagined something quite like this. Pearson grabbing back infield. Carries a couple with him. They are 6 metres out. Looking to finish in style. Marshall. Inside to Terry Hill. Running a good angle, the lock forward. And continues to push towards the line. 2 tackles remaining, 30 seconds. Fitzhenry, boot to ball. Hughes is there. And Hughes is wrapped up. They will barely have time to take the goal line dropout. As they have done for the previous 78 minutes, there has been variation. There has been good commitment, and they are playing with confidence. Congratulations to Tim Sheens and the West Tigers. It has been a dominant performance here at Campbelltown. 40 points the difference. The Tigers defeating the Knights to the tune of 52 points to 12.